Wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to never run out of money? Well, there actually is, and we're going to talk about that right now. Get up! If you've ever been like me, you've probably had those months where you come to the end of the month and there's just not enough money. The bills keep coming in and it seems like every month you're out of money and there's not enough to pay every bill. About 4 years ago, that was happening to me almost every month. It seemed like no matter how many jobs I had or how little amount I had to pay on my bills, I never had enough in savings. I never had enough when there was an emergency, and I never had enough to completely cover all my bills every time. But there's a way not to work so hard for that money. Of all my years of learning, I took several classes in college even on personal finance. I did not learn this concept, and it changed my life. I heard this from a mentor of mine, and the question is, what do you do with a dollar? Let's take a look at that concept. So what do you do with a dollar? Let's say that you have a dollar. That dollar is equal to 100 pennies, or 100%. So 100% of a dollar is 100 pennies. What we're going to do, I'm going to teach you these concepts that'll help you never run out of money if you just follow these simple steps. And the first step is to immediately set aside 70%. When you set aside 70%, this is what we call your spend category. And this is all you're allowed to spend. So if we set aside 70 pennies, we're left with 70 and 30. So we have our 70% over here, we have our 30% over here. Now what do we do with this other 30%? This is for our bills, this is for expenses, gas, utilities, phones, whatever that may be. That's all you're allowed to spend. And if you do that first, everything else will fall into place, and I'll show you that later. So we're going to set aside 70, and that's all we're going to be able to spend. We're going to take this other 30, and we're going to divide that up into 3 percentiles, okay? So we're going to say 10%, which is 10 pennies, 10%, and 10%. So we've divided this 30 into 3 different segments, into thirds. And so our first 10%, what we're going to do is we're going to give back first. I think it's very important to give back to others, and if you're a Christian like I am, you want to be able to tithe at your church or in your community or whatever that may be. So that first 10% is giving or charity. So we're going to say giving. Take 10 pennies and give it away. It's always great to give back. The second one, this is your savings. So you take your second 10%, you put 10 pennies in savings. That way you've always got an emergency fund. You're building up to the point where you've got money to do other things with. And then this last 10%, we're going to put it in investments. So our final 10% we're going to put into an investment. So this is a Roth IRA, capital for your business. Put it in the stocks, put it in a bond, put it in a mutual fund. Whatever that vehicle looks like for you, that's your investment. And so when you follow this concept, what's going to happen is off every dollar, you're going to put 70% in the spend category. You put 10% in giving, 10% in savings, and 10% in investment. And if you do that with all the money you make, whether it's $1, $100, $1 million, you're going to see that each one of these percentages are going to grow. And if you follow this first, you're going to see your savings exponentially increase, you're going to see your investments exponentially increase, and put your money to work for your money so that you don't have to work so hard to get this original amount because you're earning it here. It just makes sense. Well, what if I got too many bills? What if there's just no money to put here? I'm going to tell you, do it anyways. It's one of these concepts that if you think about it too much and you let what looks like on the surface as a bad thing get to you, it's going to turn out to be a bad thing. You're never going to have any money. But if you flip that concept upside down and you start with this first, it's odd. It's just so weird how it works. Now, there's a phrase that Dave Ramsey uses. If you're familiar with Dave Ramsey, he says, live like no one else so that you can live like no one else. When you follow this concept first, you cut some things in the beginning. Okay, so you let a bill go. Oh, so you let a credit card lapse. You do whatever it may be because you're putting stuff in savings. Now, the next month, you've got a little bit here. And the next month, you got a little 3 to 6 months down the road, you've got so much money here, you can take that and pay off those bills that you let slip in the first couple months. And so you see how it exponentially increases, it builds. When you follow this first, you never run out of money. What do you do with the dollar? 70% in savings, 30% pay yourself. Okay, 10%, 10%, 10%. You'll never run out of money again. It's a very important concept. It's so easy. Anybody can do it, okay? So no excuses. Go out, use these concepts, and start putting away money for yourself. So I'd like to hear from you. Go ahead and share your tips about how you save money in the comments below. And like and subscribe this video and share it with all your friends. Thank you so much. I'm Sammy Nudek. We'll catch you later.